What if the life you want is impossible to reach from the life you are protecting? Most people never ask themselves that question because they believe change is about adding something, a new opportunity, a better future, a better version of themselves. But the deepest transformations do not begin with gain. They begin with loss. And that is where most people stop, because everyone wants a new life. Very few people want to lose the old one. Stay with that, because there is a strange pain that appears long before people change. A feeling that something is ending. Even though nothing has visibly ended yet, you still wake up in the same room, still follow the same routines, still speak to the same people, still move through the same life. But something inside you no longer arrives the way it used to. The enthusiasm is quieter, the certainty is weaker. The things that once excited you now feel strangely distant, and at first you blame yourself. You think, maybe I became lazy, maybe I became ungrateful. Maybe something is wrong with me. But what if nothing is wrong? What if you are simply outgrowing the life that once fit you perfectly? Some people mistake the end of a chapter for the end of themselves. That mistake keeps millions trapped. Because human beings do not only become attached to happiness, they become attached to familiarity, even painful familiarity. And familiarity is dangerous. Because a familiar cage rarely feels like a cage. It feels like home. That is why people remain inside jobs they secretly resent, inside identities they no longer believe in, inside routines that slowly drain their spirit, not because they enjoy them, because they know them. And the known often feels safer than the unknown, even when the unknown contains freedom. But here is the terrifying possibility. What if the life you are protecting is already over? Not externally, internally. What if part of you has already moved on, while the rest of you keeps pretending nothing changed? That split creates suffering, because the mind wants continuity, but growth destroys continuity. Growth interrupts stories. It ruins plans. It makes old ambitions feel small. And perhaps the hardest part is realizing that the life hurting you may be the same life that once saved you. That is why letting go feels so cruel. You are not simply losing a job, or a dream, or an identity. You are losing a history, the person you spent years becoming, the person who survived difficult seasons, the person who believed this life would finally be enough. How do you say goodbye to someone like that? Most people never do. They remain loyal to former versions of themselves long after those versions have reached their limit. There is a hidden grief inside every transformation. Nobody talks about it. They talk about success, confidence, reinvention. But transformation is not only becoming. Transformation is mourning. Mourning old certainties, old identities, old dreams, old explanations for who you are. Something always dies when something meaningful is born, and that death rarely feels inspiring. It feels confusing, lonely, unfair, because nobody prepares you for the pain of outgrowing your own life. You begin feeling distant from conversations you once enjoyed, places you once loved, goals you once obsessed over. Nothing changed, except you. And that can be frightening, Because people are comfortable losing things, they are far less comfortable losing identities. The most difficult goodbye is not saying goodbye to other people. It is saying goodbye to the person you needed to become in order to survive. That sentence alone explains countless lives. The hard worker who no longer wants to prove anything. The people pleaser exhausted from being understood by everyone except themselves. The ambitious person chasing goals they secretly stopped caring about years ago. The strong person tired of pretending strength is the only acceptable emotion. Some identities save us, then imprison us, and one day life quietly asks, will you remain loyal to survival or loyal to truth? Most people hesitate because truth offers no guarantees. Truth destroys certainty. Truth removes excuses. Truth asks you to walk forward without becoming who you used to be again. And that is terrifying. Maybe that is why so many people remain stuck, not because they do not know what they want, because they already know what it will cost. The future rarely hides itself. The sacrifice does. People know which conversations they need to leave, which habits they need to abandon, which identities they need to bury. They know. But letting go feels like betrayal, not betrayal of others. Betrayal of the person who worked so hard to build this life. And yet, remaining can become its own betrayal, because every day you stay inside a life that no longer fits. Something inside you disappears, not dramatically. Quietly, you become less curious, less alive, less emotionally present. You continue functioning, but functioning is not the same as living, and eventually the distance becomes impossible to ignore. You can outgrow a life before leaving it. That is one of the loneliest experiences a human being can have, because externally everything still looks normal. Internally, everything has changed. You become a stranger inside your own routines, and no amount of discipline fixes that. No amount of gratitude fixes that, because the problem is not motivation. The problem is that your soul has stopped fitting the shape of your life. And souls do not negotiate forever. Eventually, they demand movement, even if movement hurts. Even if movement destroys certainty, even if movement requires grief. Maybe the life you want is not hidden. Maybe it has been waiting patiently. While you keep trying to bring your old life with you, maybe the future does not need more effort from you. Maybe it needs more surrender, more honesty, more courage to release what no longer belongs. Because there are some doors that refuse to open for the person you used to be, not to punish you, to protect who you are becoming. And maybe that is why some people never reach the life they imagine, not because they failed, not because they lacked courage, but because every time life asked them to let go, they chose loyalty to who they had been, over responsibility to who they were becoming. And perhaps growing up is finally understanding this. The hardest part of finding your new life is grieving the old one before it is gone.